Check out this barn fresh square body Chevy. One owner, 77 GMC, High Sierra, 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive. Let's go. I have a miraculous superpower of finding old project cars and trucks, particularly square body Chevys, and I was very fortunate enough to actually meet the guy that bought this thing new, and it has been sitting in his barn for the past 10 years. Of course it doesn't run, it's been sitting forever, but we're gonna, kind of get the, cobwebs knocked off and see if we can get it started. This truck is actually a rare bird. It is a 3/4 ton, 8-lug truck, and it's 4-wheel drive. And so there wasn't a whole lot of these that didn't get used as like just, work trucks, and absolutely get tore up. This one, of course, for a 4-wheel drive truck from the 70s, the condition kind of shows it, but it's pretty cool because the guy did some tasteful mods over the years that are very period correct, which I'll show y'all here shortly. We'll check out the inside of the truck. This is probably the coolest thing. So check out this. So we got bucket seats. I believe these are Jeep Wagoneer or Cherokee seats, and I believe they call that Cordova red, if I remember correctly. The gentleman was a career truck driver, right? So I imagine while he was, over the road and doing stuff, he would be picking up, some of these things and to add on his travels and bring them back and do them to the truck, which is kind of cool, So, yeah, it's pretty period correct. It's got a Hurst shifter. The interesting thing about this truck is if you look at it, it's a 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive, right, Larry Cat? We got a solid front axle, but we got a 2-wheel drive transmission, no T-case, but we still have the solid front axle. So don't know what was up there. Maybe T-case shit the bed, and he just said screw it. But we got a floor shifter and everything along those lines. Don't know the reasonings behind everything, but still a cool truck. Not mad at it. Guys, look at this. Where is the rocker rust? And the cab corners are great. I've had a lot of square bodies, and the bed sides and the front fenders, they really don't matter, right? But the cab, if you could get a good cab, you're golden. And finding one on this early of a square body is really hard to do. But the first thing we got to do is get the hood open. So a lot of times these latches like to freeze up, and so I got my helper here with me. And the one thing that you guys need to know with messing with these old trucks, especially square body Chevys, is patience, right? These things, well, the hood's not working right. I've seen these trucks, you go to look at them and you can see where they've like drilled a hole in here, they bashed the hood, or they've crowbarred the sides of the hood up. Guys, the thing is that this spring is just a little bit seized up, right? And all we got to do is just take a little screwdriver and just work the edges nice and gently like that, and just kind of free it up as we go along. Now, the 15-pound cat here is not going to help us as far as the weight goes on the hood, but it can help us get to kind of the point that we need to. Oh, he's going to get off and let us get the hood open now. So we're just going to kind of come in here and gently just persuade the hood to come up. And just like that, you can see we already got enough real estate to get in here and get the hood open. No beating required. Now I'm gonna get it to here, and we're gonna stop, and I'll tell you why. So if you look, these hoods, it's a design flaw, but they're really long, and there's not a whole lot of like structural support built into these hoods. And if the hinges are either weak or rusted or anything along those lines, they'll actually bind up and they'll bend depending on how you yank on the hood. So when I raise this hood, I'm going to do it kind of one side at a time, just because I don't want to put so much stress on the hinges. This thing's been sitting forever. This hood probably hasn't been popped in 10 years. So there's no grease on those hinges. It's metal on metal. So we're just going to be very careful. I'm just going to start on one side here. Both sides at a time. We're going to get some WD-40. We're going to grease those hinges up, grease that latch up. That way, you know, the next time that we got to open this thing up, we won't have to worry about, you know, fighting with it. Did you guys even know that they made this? This is the WD-40 Big Blast. It is like just a boom, a cannon of WD-40, and it's perfect for areas like these hinges and these latches. I'm gonna show you. There's our little helper again. So up here is the hinges. You got so many points of contact on here that have to be greased and you know, kind of lubed up. There's so many points of contact on here that rotate, and if one of them isn't, you can see how the rust is really good on that one, but if one of them isn't lubricated properly, it's gonna bind and these arms are gonna bend. And that's when these hoods, you'll see them, they'll get a crack right here because somebody tries to shut the hood and this is bound up and they're just folding the hood in half. So we're not going to do that on this, and we're gonna use the Big Blast and blast these hinges down. Give her a nice shake, and oh yeah. Is that satisfying to anybody else or just me? That is awesome. Engine looks good. It seems to be all there. Need a battery, right? But the battery tray is not rusted, which is surprising for this. We'll Big Blast the latch too with our handy dandy WD-40 Big Blast. I'm gonna soak that sucker good. We use our Big Blast on these hinges too. Boom. For the most part, truck's pretty straight. You know, it does have a you know, fair amount of some weird Bondo here. It's no rust or anything. I mean, some of it's kind of thick, but I think what had happened is it got smacked down the side here. Maybe had a dent in it. And instead of straightening it out, you know, the easier thing to do is just do Bondo, right? Probably not the perfect way to do it, but that was the way that made sense, you know, at the time for them. So that's probably what happened. The really cool thing, we got a full float axle. Has anybody seen 8-lug slot mags before? I haven't. That's pretty cool. Same wheels I got on the Nova, but for, you know, an 8-lug truck. So I think that's kind of wicked cool. Who knows? We'll get the truck running, see what all it's going to take, and play with it for a little bit. I don't know if we'll put a T-case back in it or just leave it two-wheel drive, but I'm absolutely pumped. I've never had a one-owner truck. I have the original North Carolina title and the loan paperwork from, you know, the 70s. So I think that's pretty rad. The guy was super cool to talk to him, you know, about the truck. Absolutely pumped for it. Follow along if you want to, you know, see what comes of it. Thanks, guys.